Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Rose, and today I am building what I'm going to be calling a rundown ranch. I wanted to play with the new EP, and my first thought, and apparently every other simmers as well, was to do a rags to riches, fixer-upper type of playthrough. And I'm still planning to have a little LP for the pack. I am just not rushing myself, because I have tried rushing in the past to get my content seen in the midst of the hype, but it just ended up ruining my fun and excitement for the pack. So instead, I'm going to be taking my time and enjoying it as I go this time. And obviously, the first thing I did with the pack was I made some horses. I made Spirit and Rain from my favorite childhood movie, Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron. So I can link that video in the top corner as well as in the description box if you want to go check it out. I highly recommend. I think they're great. I'm very proud of them. I'm proud of how they turned out. So basically, the next thing I did with the pack was this build, which is, you know, it was a struggle because it's the biggest lot I've ever built on. So this build has taken me days to finish and many hours because I usually don't build on 64 by 64 lots. I build, but I don't build this big. I also don't really build community lots, they tend to be on like bigger lots sometimes. But I would like to try, but that's besides the point. This build took a while because as a perfectionist, I apparently needed 7 hours to complete this, and I really didn't like myself later in editing for that. I honestly had a hard time starting out because I wasn't sure how I wanted the ranch to be laid out. I knew I wanted a house and a barn, obviously, but after that, my mind was like so blank, trying to think about what goes on a ranch, even though I grew up on a farm with horses, donkeys, cows, chickens, rabbits, turkeys, ducks, you name it. I literally grew up with everything like that, but I couldn't think about how to lay it out for the longest time. I think that the lot just intimidated me, so I had to take a step back and look at some reference photos to get me started. But after I stopped letting this lot size scare me, I knew I wanted to have some training rings and a pasture. I wanted to have some room for some of the cottage living animals because, you know, the two packs together are pretty perfect. So I do place a chicken coop. There's a shed for either a llama or a cow. You know, there's options. You've got options. But since it was supposed to be somewhat run down, I do make the landscape very bushy and overgrown. I try to show that it hasn't really been maintained to its full potential. And I used mostly Debug from the Horse Ranch pack for it, for like most of the landscaping, and I tried to do that to save on some of the cost of the lot since it is such a big house, or not big house, but big lot, because, you know, it is supposed to be kind of like a fixer-upper. So I didn't want it to be too expensive, but honestly, I couldn't tell you what it ended up being. I don't remember. It was probably still too expensive, but, you know, landscaping with Debug helps a little bit, you know? I wanted to use the Debug from the pack a lot to really try to make the build blend in with the world and seem like it belonged there. So I used the same trees that were around, and it ends up looking like it fits in, I think. The house itself, I think, turns out exactly how I wanted it to, because I don't know. We have so many packs now that really help make the rundown fixer-upper look come to life. I used Horse Ranch pack. I used the basement kit for most of the furniture and decor. I love the house. That was the easy part for me, honestly. The barn is super nice too, but it looks less rundown to me, but still rustic, so I think it works. I don't know, there just wasn't as many ways to make the barn look rundown, I guess. But it definitely looks rustic with the textures of the wood in the pack. I put a wine making station in the barn along with storage for the wine to age and obviously like decorations to match. I also put some wine storage in the house off of the kitchen. There's like a little utility room off the kitchen. The barn has 4 stalls, a tack room, and a loft. The loft is all for show really because, you know, we don't really have like the need to store hay, but I put it there because I thought it looked nice, and I used some of the hay items from Debug. There was like little hay bales, and I used a bunch of it to, you know, just kind of show that that's where they stored their hay, and I also put a little wooden chair and a guitar up there by like the windows. I figured You know, not really sure why. I figured maybe whoever lived there liked to tuck themselves away and relax while they played their guitar and watched over the farm, something like that. You know, it's fun to climb up in the haylofts as a kid. So the house was way too big to start off with, but once I did make it a little bit smaller, it came together perfectly. There ends up being 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. The utility room I mentioned, you know, there's a lot of space, but it's not too big. There's also hall space for an office and a back room that could become, you know, a mud room or something like that. Most of the space that isn't designated has boxes and just kind of junk in it to kind of go with the fixer-upper theme. The Horse Ranch pack was really actually perfect for this. The wood textures are incredibly well done compared to other packs. I don't know if I will be using this build for my playthrough personally, but I will be doing something that's fixer-upper like, but maybe I might start with something smaller. I do plan on building more with this pack though, so, you know, I've wanted horses in The Sims 4 for years, and I'm in love with this pack, so I definitely have to do something. I have to play with it. I have to do some kind of LP on my channel. I'm just super excited. They did horses just so well. I can't wait to play with them. Also, this build has quite a few packs in it. I just realized I used a lot of packs. I didn't restrict myself at all, but if you'd like, I've been actually thinking about building something that is Horse Ranch and base game only, so let me know. That would honestly be quite a challenge for me because I have never pack restricted myself when building. I do want to start doing some starter homes and base game builds on my channel just because most of my builds, I just do whatever. But I just want some of my builds to be able to be more accessible to more of you because I know that not everybody has all of the packs like I do, and sometimes you guys just want a base game home or whatever just because it's easy to access. But I'd love any build suggestions in the comments as well, pack restriction ideas, honestly anything that you guys might be interested in seeing. Let me know in the comments, please. I would love your suggestions. I would love to do a bunch more building. But anyways, back to this build. I did jump around a lot, as you may have noticed. Sometimes it just happens like that. My brain jumps around when I'm scrolling through the catalog. I see an item and it makes me think of how I want to use it somewhere else. So then I go do that area and then I see another item and then that one makes me think of something else and so on and so forth. So I don't remember if I mentioned, by the way, I did have 7 hours of footage for this build. And honestly, editing down to like an acceptable length of a video for a speed build, like this video is like 22 minutes, was the hardest thing that I thought it would not be like this long. I didn't know I had this much footage. It was so hard to do. I was trying to balance cutting out enough to make the video shorter, but not too much that you didn't really get to see what I was doing. Mostly you don't see the floor plan or any of like the window placement, the door placements, flooring and like wallpapers and stuff. I just cut that out because there was a lot of just indecisiveness and it took a long time. There was more, but just that kind of stuff you don't really see. Also, I just remembered that the video starts with the house base, like the base of the shell already built, because when I started recording, I pushed record in OBS and then 30 minutes later I looked up and it wasn't recording. So I just don't have footage of when I started. So I start this video with like the house sitting there. Obviously it wasn't done, but the initial shell of the house was there. But honestly, later in editing, I was glad to have less footage because, to be totally honest with you, I had too much to cut out. I cut out so much dead space where I would be building and I would just stop and then obviously I was doing something else. I either got up away from my computer or I was over there on Twitter or something because it would just be sitting in one spot for like 5 minutes and I'd have to cut out all of that. And I just didn't pause my recording. I must have just forgot. I don't know, guys. I don't know what happened, but I don't think I have ever been so annoyed with myself post-recording before this build because I have never done that. Usually I will pause it, do whatever I gotta do and come back. No, I was really annoyed. I probably cut out in total about 10 minutes of just nothing And probably more than that, honestly. I did it like 5 different times within the 3 days that I recorded and the 3 sessions of clips that I had to edit through. There was just big empty spots where I was doing nothing for several minutes. Oh, I was so irritated with myself. But, you know, the more you learn, I guess. Also, you won't catch me making a 64 by 64 again, because apparently it's just too much for me to do and I get too distracted too easily. And just anytime soon. I'll probably do it again sometime, but hopefully not anytime soon, is what I'm trying to say. Also, I changed some small details post-recording as well. You won't really see them until you download the build, if you download the build. Nothing like too drastic or anything, but I mean, I did change the roof of the barn and the trim of the barn on the roof to just be a little bit more to be more barn-like, because I originally made it the same roof as the house, but I didn't really like it in the end when I was taking screenshots, so it becomes like a metal roof. And then honestly, outside of that, anything else that might have been changed after recording is really small details that you probably won't notice like a huge difference. But actually, after making this build and while I was editing and stuff, I thought of so many things that I wanted to do to like go and change, but I figured I wouldn't do that because I've already finished the build and I'll just use those ideas in another build. So for the most part though, it's exactly as you see it in the video. I actually really like how the driveway comes together too, because that was a really difficult thing for me because there was just so much open space to work with after I finished all of the main structures for the build. And I found that, you know, it just, I don't know, I was trying to make it look natural, but also intentional, if that makes any sense. Like I went into Debug and I found the horse trailer that I use in the truck, and I made like a little parking area and thought it looked super cute. Actually, let's talk about Debug for a second. This pack, it has like the best debug I think we've gotten in a pack. The hitching post I used, like the little signs with like the little, just, oh my god, they were amazing. The water tower, I used the water tower, I sized it up. This pack is just so good. I'm so happy that we have horses. I never thought we'd see the day, to be honest. The next thing I would like though, after horses, because horses is something I've always wanted. The next thing though, I would love to see cars, even though it would be hard to use them on all lots in every world because of like how the lots meet the world, meet the edge of the lot, like meets the rest of the world. In a lot of places there isn't like streets or roads directly connected, but I still think that we could do cars just like they did in The Sims 2, and it would be perfect. Okay, I don't need an open world. I don't need my sim to sit in a car and drive all over the place and take half of the day just driving to get somewhere. Okay, I don't need that, but just the act of having the car, getting in it, pulling out of the driveway and like driving off the lot, and then there being a loading screen just adds just something that I'm missing, you know. It's just something. I loved that in The Sims 2. I thought it was amazing. You could like you could make your sim choose to take their car to work instead of like a carpool. I loved it. But I also loved the fixer-upper car in The Sims 2. I don't know what it's called, really. There's a term, but it was like a broken down shell of a car that you could have your sim fix up and make into a functioning car, and then it could become their car. Like, just imagine how I could run with that storyline. I have a sexy mechanic or something. I don't even know, but it just gets me excited. Okay, horses and cars in The Sims 4 makes me excited. But I'm getting way too ahead of myself. I need to like calm down. But can you picture it? Like, you can picture it, right? Please tell me you can picture that, because I would love that. Love that. Just please give me cars next and I will be so happy. You know what? I never say never, because you really don't know. I mean, look at everything we have now that we didn't think we would ever have in The Sims 4. For instance, horses. There were so many people that were like, there is no way we would ever get horses, and now we have horses. So I don't know, maybe we just need to like be like, hey, cars, hey, you know, like bands, like let's get all these things that they could do in The Sims 4 that they kind of had in The Sims 3, but let's like make it Sims 4 like. I don't know, you know what I mean? But anyways, so I've actually been thinking a lot, because I know that we're still a small little community here. We're still a small little channel, 2,000 subscribers. Thank you, by the way. I just recently hit 2,000 subscribers and it's so exciting. But I mentioned a while back that I was trying to figure out what I could call you guys, because I feel like some people have like, you know, like their community has like a name or something. And obviously my channel name is asixteenthrose. I'm Rose, and I figured Rose, maybe the community could be like a rose garden. Maybe that's silly, I don't know. But I figured that you guys, my subscribers, my supporters, could be rosebuds. And I, if you don't know what that is, like it's a play off of a Sims cheat, Rosebud. It's what is a money cheat for like $1,000 or something, 1,000 simoleons. But like it's a play on Rosebud, the cheat, and I play Sims. It's a play on my name because Rose, and you guys could be like little rosebuds. I don't know. Maybe it's silly. Maybe it's not. Let me know. But also I was thinking like if I ever did channel memberships, because YouTube has memberships, that like there could be different stages of like roses. There could be rosebuds and you know, like, I don't know. Is that silly? Maybe it is. But as you can see, we're getting to the barn, and that's pretty much all I've got to talk about today. The video is almost done. There's like a couple more minutes and you'll see me start doing all of the pastures and the training rings and the terrain paint and all the landscaping that I haven't finished yet. And right here you see me just trying to fix the gap between like the wall and the ceiling. There's like a weird gray gap where you can see the actual roof or whatever. It was weird, so I ended up putting like the spandrels and like the columns to make it look like cover that gap, and it looked actually really good with it. So here I am starting the pastures and all of that good stuff, and I just think it really comes together in the end, and I'm super happy with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys just finish by listening to the music and watching what I'm doing. And this lot will be on the gallery. It will be up for download, no CC obviously. And with that being said, I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your favorite part of the video. Let me know your favorite part of the pack. And I will see you guys in the next horse video. Bye guys.